What is going on, YouTube? This is DBZ439 coming at you with a very exciting deck profile. That is Yumi Control. I just went to the Oklahoma Regionals and I got 12th place with this deck with over 200 people. So I think that's a pretty impressive feat, especially with the format where, Kashtira, Superheavy Samurai, and even Despia are very dominating. And so real quickly, I just want to go over my matchups. I played 8 rounds, and the first round I lost to Despia, unfortunately, and, after losing that match, I had my hopes down. I didn't think, I'd perform well. And then I went on a 5-round winning streak. I 2-0ing Superheavy Samurai in the second round, beating Kashtira in the third, beating Swordsoul in the fourth. Next, I defeated Despia, and then I played Despia again in the 6th round. And then the 7th round, I played against Kashtira. And then finally, in the final round, I did play against Superheavy Samurai. So as you can see, I only played against Despia, Kashtira, and Superheavy Samurai for the most part, other than the Swordsoul. So I really did feel that I prepared my deck against, those top 3 decks I mentioned in Superheavy, Despia, and Kashtira. That's what I catered my deck to beat. With the new ban list dropping, there are definitely going to be changes being made. But I'm just showcasing what I took to that regionals, and hope you guys can take inspiration from that. And without any further ado, let's bring on the Mako Tsunami deck that I actually believe is a very underrated deck this format. So let's start off with 3 Kairyu-Shin Ocean Lord. This card is absolutely cracked, and actually the only reason why I'm playing this deck. So basically, there are other control decks out there in the form of like Outlich, Labyrinth, Trap Tricks per se. But what this deck stands out more than the other decks is how good this card is by itself. Because this card can break boards going second. And it's not even an activated effect, it's a continuous effect. So every turn I can search a Yumi spell or trap card, and as long as this card's on the field with Yumi, your opponent can only control one type of monster that isn't water. And so that's super powerful. You pair that with other floodgates and whatnot, it's just very hard for your opponents to play. So this card's absolutely bonkers, and yeah, next we'll go on to running triple Electric Jellyfish. This card is also really good. Every turn I can, essentially negate a monster or spell card, and it'll gain 600 attack defense permanently. And then I can send a Yumi from my deck or face up to the field to special summon a water monster from my hand. And that comes up a lot to, bring this guy out. It can also help you play around hand traps, so if they wanted to Droll you or Ash you, you set up this card first with your Yumi, and it helps you play around hand traps. So that's really good. Also enables XYZ plays, which I didn't really go much into, but yeah, this card's incredible. Next, for the last of the water monsters, we do play 1 Mega Fortress Run, the 1 Gameciel. So Gameciel to get rid of problematic cards and, Arise Higher than Pirelli, Nor. And then this card allows you to help attack for game. All water monsters can attack directly if you have Yumi on the field, and during the battle phase, quick effect, you target one monster my opponent controls and destroy it. So, all really good cards. I did not play the Doom Kraken. I felt Doom Kraken was a brick. I honestly did not miss it. I feel like it doesn't offer much, especially the idea of the deck is, you just lock your opponent from playing the game, by setting up Kairyu-Shin Ocean Lord, and other stuff. And so I didn't feel the need to play Doom Kraken, any normal monsters. We wanted to make this deck as consistent as possible. Then again, I went X2, so there are times that I did brick, and, I'm trying to figure out other ways to make it more consistent, but, you'll see in the deck profile that the changes I'll make going in the near future. So one of them being is a triple Droll. Even though that this card was absolutely insane for me, this regional is just, it's essentially a turn skipper for, Kashtira and Super Heavy Samurais, depending if they have gas, of course, But this card at least gave me a chance, if I do lose the die roll, I can at least, drop a Droll, make it to where I can somewhat reestablish control during my turn. And so, yeah, but moving forward, I'm predicting that Droll won't be as potent as it is right now. So this could see a cut, but the first half of the region, this card put in a lot of work. The only other hand trap I played in the main deck was Nibiru. Being really strong in the Kashtira matchup. Even in the Superheavy Samurai matchup, it's pretty good because, once they do their Axel Synchro play, you just nib that board, and then, if they try to make a monster in, like, Regulus or something, you can run over it, even Appaloosa. So Nibiru is pretty good. Another thing I really liked about Nibiru, which didn't really come up, was that if I needed to tribute summon for Ocean Lord, I have the body to do so. There are times where you don't, have a way to get to Ocean Lord, and that's the idea of the whole deck, is to get to him as soon as possible and set up your board. And so, yeah, I mean, it also goes in tandem with, cards like Karikura Divini and Bystials. The same concept applies there, so I thought that was pretty neat. But moving forward, I'll probably cut the Droll and the Nibiru, put it more consistency cards, maybe in cards like Foolish Burger of Goods and Ice Barrier. I did have consistency issues throughout the day. So yeah, but I just wanted to have a chance to help me go second, and I feel like these were high impact cards that, that gave a lot of value. Also, with the Nibiru token, sometimes it's huge and you can't get over it. That's fine. You have ways to get over it in Fortress, where you can attack directly, or you can pop it, or use your C-Stealth attack trap card to destroy it by card effect. Another cool thing is if they have the Nib token and you have your Ocean Lock, they're pretty much locked with that Nib token, so you can just play around with that. So I think that's pretty funny. Next, we play triple Legendary Ocean. Obviously, you need to run, maximize the Yumis. Without this card on the field, you lose some of your monster effects. And the funny thing is with this, it modulates levels. So against like the Swordsoul matchup, them losing 1 stars on their token and then Moi, I think that was pretty funny. So do keep in mind, like cards like Kashtira Ogre, and I think they have another tier element, which I think they don't play, but still, if they're trying to XYZ with those cards, they can't. So that's pretty neat. Next, we play 3 Fish Sonar. The rotor of the deck, you got to play 3 of it. And next, we played double Sea Stealth 2. This card was amazing. I was playing it at 1 for a while before this regionals, but then I had to up it to 2 because of how good of a card it is, honestly. First of all, it's a Yumi once on the field. Second, your opponent cannot target your water monsters with non-water monster effects, so it can help you play around hand traps. And then the final effect is during the battle phase, you can special summon a water monster that mentions Yumi in it, and special summon a defense when it dies in the end of the battle phase. And that's really good because you can bring it back with using the Sea Stealth attack to banish it, and then it'll come back during the end phase. And also, you need to have Yumi cards on the field to resolve Dark Reef. So that's pretty good. Also, another cool thing about this card is they don't see it coming in terms of the Monster Reborn effect, so you just summon Ocean Lord on the start of the battle phase, no response, and then the Ocean Lord will just clear the field, essentially. So, really good card. Next, we do play triple Pot of Prosperity. Consistency, you don't really care about your extra deck. It gets you what you need, so I rather prefer this over playing 3 Extravagance. I'm really glad Prosperity didn't get hit in the list, and this card really helps you dig for what you need. And then we do play the 1 Extrav. I felt that this ratio was really good. I didn't really... I think there's one time where I opened 1 Prosperity and Extrav, but when I resolved the Extrav, they ashed it, so I was just able to use Product Prosperity as a follow-up. So that was pretty good. I think I opened Prosperity, 2 copies of Prosperity in my hands twice. But, you live with those. You need to bolster the consistency as much as possible. Moving forward, we do play the 1 Terraforming, the 1 Call by the Grave to play around, hand traps and the Search the Field spell. So, yeah, that's it for the spells. Now, moving forward to the trap cards, we do play the best card, in my opinion, in my deck, was Sea Stealth Attack. The reason being is because on activation you can, activate a Yumi from graveyard to hand, and then it has 2 effects. Once per time, can banish a water monster for the rest of the turn. Face of spell and trap cards cannot be destroyed, and that's really good because it helps you protect your floodgates. In the event that Ocean Lord dies or whatnot, you still have your floodgates that your opponent can't really deal with. So that's really good. And then when you battle with level 5 or higher original monster water monsters, it automatically destroys that monster and in the damage step. So really good. It goes really well in tandem with Skill Drain, and that's the reason why I played that card. But we'll talk about that once we get there in a sec. Next, we do play triple Dark Reef. I was playing this card at 2, but then I realized how important this card is, because it really is your win con, right? So there are times where people are going to Kaiju you, Dark Ruler, things like that, and that's fine. And then on the res, you just use Dark Reef and you just set up your board again. Also, it helps you go for game because it summons the Fortress Whale. And Fortress Whale helps you attack for game. So, really good card. You send your Yumi from your side of the field to the grave to special summon 2 copies with different names. You can't summon anything besides water monster until the end of the next turn, but who cares? You just try to establish control and win the game from there. Next, we do play Triple Gozen Match. This is mandatory in this deck because there are a lot of people that are going to try to Kaiju your board and Lava Golem and whatnot, and this card helps you protect that. And on top of that, not only did they have to deal with the Ocean Lord, but they have to deal with this on top of having Sea Stealth attack to protect it from destruction is really good. And that also goes for the same for Skill Drain, which was awful this regionals. And testing, it was pretty good, and that's why I kept it. But during the regionals, this card actually hurt me more than it hurt my opponent, and it just was not good. Moving forward, I think the only way you do play Skill Drain in this deck if you play more Floodgates, and there can only be one, which is also really good in this deck. But Ocean Lord kind of does what there can only be one does, so that's why I opted not to play it. But I really felt that Skill Drain is really powerful to the point where you can play around it, especially if you play it with Sea Stealth attack. So yeah, if I do play Skill Drain, I'll probably be playing more Floodgates with it. But other than that, it might get cut. It was pretty bad for me. But anyways, that's it for the main deck. 40 cards there. I'll just quickly go through my extra deck because it's not too important. I barely went to any of these cards. Double Zeus. We do play Extravagance, so we don't want to banish multiple copies of this card. Or if the Kashtira matchup, we can go into XYZ plays. Crag Spawn, Stealth Kraken, Exciton Knight. All these cards. I'm going to show quickly because nothing important. I made this card. I actually didn't make this card. I needed to make the card, but it got banished off Extrav, unfortunately. Zoodiac package to attack directly, double Matt Zeus, Cowboy for game. And then we have like a link package here, all pretty irrelevant. Never went into these once. This is primarily for when I side in Bestials to make something, but never came up. These cards never came up. Anima came up once and actually wanted me to duel. I had a normal summon a Droll and, use Anima to suck something up, and that was the only thing that really mattered for the extra deck. That's the only card. I had so many flex spots. So yeah, that's it for the extra deck. Nothing much more to say. We just use Prosperity Extra. That's another beautiful thing about the deck. Now that Mind Hacker's banned, but we don't really care if stuff gets banished from extra deck. So moving forward, the most powerful hand trap in my side deck probably was Dimension Shifter. I think I only resolved it once. It helped me win my final round against Superheavy Samurai. Really good. This card doesn't hurt you at all, and it's just like a turn skip for a lot of players. For, I guess, a lot of decks. So, yeah, there's that. The most useless card in my side deck, unfortunately, was Karikura Divini. Ideally, it's for the Pirelli and Kashtira matchup, in which I never saw this and never resolved it. In theory, it's supposed to be pretty good, but I think moving forward, I'm going to cut it, maybe considering the Dark Ruler no more. Bestial package, put in some work. Big bodies, interrupt stuff in the graveyard, and you can sack, Magnum Mode or something to summon Ocean Lord if you really need to. That's it for that. And then, one more Gameciel for the Arise and Pirelli matchup. I was a little worried about that, you just slap the Gameciel. Gameciel actually has a lot of synergy with the deck, being a water monster. I can sack my opponent's monster freely under Ocean Lord. If I really need to resolve Jellyfish, I can summon this with the Jellyfish. There's one time where I special summoned a Gameciel on my opponent's side of the field, summoned my own copy of Gameciel, then I sacked it away for Ocean Lord, and I just proceeded to establishing control, so I thought that was pretty cool. Next, we played Triple Evenly Match. Didn't really come up too much, but it's a good blowout card against a lot of matchups. And then obviously 3 Solemn Judgment to protect your stuff going first. So that's it for the side deck there. I'm very happy with the results that I did. Obviously, getting 12th place isn't really easy to do, especially with a deck like this. I just felt it was a really strong meta call. People don't see it coming. They don't know what your deck does. and you just take advantage of that. It has a very strong Despia match in him, and I'm predicting that Despia is going to be one of the best decks moving forward. So I do think that this deck is really strong against that, especially if they gimmick puppet lock you and whatnot. You don't really care. You just normal summon. I got gimmick puppet locked so many times I didn't care. I just distribute this over the gimmick puppet and just wipe their board clean, and then they just can't, on their crackback, they can't really play. So it's pretty funny. I think this deck is very strong, very underrated. There's a lot of ways to improve the deck, especially side deck, extra deck, not so much. But the main deck, definitely some changes going to be made. I'm not sure to tell you what. But yeah, if you guys like the video, consider liking, subscribing. I try to post as much as I can, try to bring fun deck ideas and make it as competitive as possible. And, just to share with the community, feel free to comment below. I try to read every single comment and try to respond to the best of my ability. Once again, go ahead and click the like and subscribe button, and have a great day.